You've probably heard the phrase, do what you love and the money will follow. Oh, my darling, passion alone won't pay your bills. I wish it did. I wish it did, because I have a lot of passion. And if passion could pay my bills, I would be a rich woman. Welcome to From Corporate to CEO, hosted by the Power Move Collective. I'm your host, Nandy B, and this is your daily podcast that proves that you don't have to resign in order to rise. Here, ambitious women like yourself learn how to leverage your paycheck, your skills, and your corporate career to launch and grow your own business. And in just 10 minutes every day, I'll share power moves that will turn your 9-to-5 into your greatest investor. Make sure, however, that you hit subscribe so that you never miss an episode. With that said, let's get on with today's episode. Welcome back to week 2 of the CEO journey, where we are moving from idea overload to clarity. Yesterday in day 1, we learned how to score your business idea like a CEO would, using these 4 tests: passion, skills, demand, and profitability. You see, this framework filters out the knowledge and circles your top 3 ideas. Today, in day 2, we are zooming in on that very first test, and honestly, probably the most misunderstood test in the 4 test score. That is the passion test, or the energy test, right? We are going to bust the myth that passion alone is enough. And we are going to show you how to anchor it with skills, demand, and profitability so that it actually becomes a business. Let's get right onto it, right? Many corporate women sit on dozens of ideas, and the one that tends to excite them the most often is a passion-driven idea. But if you don't ground those ideas in skills, demand, and profitability, you end up risking creating a beautiful business that doesn't survive. So here is your big idea for today. Passion is the spark, but it can't be the engine. Passion will fuel persistence. Skills, however, will fuel execution. Demand will fuel relevance. And profitability will fuel longevity. And you need all 4 of them in order for your business to be profitable and to last a long time. Without all 4 of these, you don't really have a business. You have a fun hobby that makes you money every now and then. So here are some danger signs of a passion-only business that I want you to be aware of. The first one is no clear skill bridge. And this week, I'm really taking the framework of how things look like in corporate versus how it's going to look in your business. Because a lot of women at this stage don't have that entrepreneurial conceptual framework. I really want to take you from being an employee and translating that into your own business. So here is an example. In your corporate job, we've all seen a senior leader who gets excited about a side project, but they have no expertise, right? Those of us who have worked for large companies, all the time, we see it all the time. A VP who's passionate about wellness decides to lead a coaching program for employees, but they don't have any coaching framework. They don't understand how to facilitate conversations, right? So they don't have that facilitation skills. And most importantly, they just don't have the credibility in that space. So what is most likely to happen? Employees are not engaged because even though that person is passionate about it, the results they are getting because of the lack of skills is showing up in the employee engagement, and resources often wasted, people's time wasted. So this passion without skill alignment is leading to burnout from the VP who is leading the initiative, but it's also leading to lack of interest from the employees who are participating. The same will apply to your business. If you're passionate about baking, but your corporate skills are in finance and operation, I am not saying that it's not possible. Everything is possible. The only difference, however, is that you will have an uphill climb to turn baking into a sustainable business. It's not impossible, but it requires retraining, extra investment, and extra time. So this is where I really want you to have a personal come to Jesus moment, okay? Ask yourself, which of my corporate skills am I leveraging in this idea? If the answer is none, pause. If the answer is some, double down on those transferable skills, because that is where your competitive advantage is going to lie. The second danger zone is no evidence of market demand, right? So think about a corporate project that looked shiny but died in the pilot phase because customers didn't want it. Right? I am in the manufacturing space. Let me tell you something. I've come up with a lot of great ideas that customers didn't want, right? I was probably the only person who wanted that product. And sometimes even my leadership was like, yeah, but customers out there just didn't care for it. It could have been for many different reasons. It could have been because of how we positioned it. It could have been for maybe how the product smelled. It could have been for many different reasons. So this is why in my business, we always tested a product significantly before we launched it. We conducted focused groups. So even at the ideation stage, we will do market surveys where we are sending out surveys to about 100, 200 people to gauge whether or not the idea itself was worth the effort. And then once we had the idea, we would make prototypes, have a small focused group of people who would come and they would actually test the prototype, give us feedback, and we would do iterations. So this is me in my own job. We apply this all the time. However, in my business, I would launch these great ideas that would just be in my head and I wouldn't go through this process. And this is why I'm having this module, because I want you to change that. When I started changing that and really employing the things that I had in my job into my business, things began to change. For your business, you need to be testing your ideas. You cannot skip this step. You might be passionate about teaching people handwriting calligraphy, but if the market is only willing to consume that for free on Pinterest, you don't have a business. In this case, as much as you are passionate about calligraphy, this passion alone is not enough. And without the evidence that customers are actually interested in paying for it, because that's something else too. In the age of the internet, honey, people may be interested in watching your videos for free, clicking on your Pinterest for free, but it doesn't mean that they are willing to pay money for that thing, right? So it's finding where, okay, people are interested, and are they interested in paying for it? Danger sign number 3, no path to profitability. And I've mentioned this already. If you are in your job and you brought a project to your boss and you're like, this project is going to make money, the first question they are going to ask you is, how much money is it going to make? And then on top of that, they will ask you, how much money is it going to make on top of the money we are going to spend? That's the profitability part, right? Because something making money is one thing. Something making money enough for it to be valuable, sustainable, and to have a return on investment, that is completely different. You have seen these TikTok ads, these Facebook ads, where some young 22-year-old kid is like, yeah, I made $2 million doing X, Y, and Z. but they're not telling you if that $2 million was profit, if that $2 million was 10% profit, 20% profit, 40% profit. I know in my corporate jobs, we have a threshold of profitability, and it can range, depending on the project, anywhere from 40 to 75%. You need to determine what that threshold of profitability is for your business. Your ideas may bring you joy, but can they pay you back, and can they pay you back enough for it to be sustainable? So a project that costs you money each month without a plan to scale revenue is not a business. It's an expensive hobby. And that is personally okay if all you care about is just doing what you love. But you need to name it what it is. So ask yourself this very simple question. What's the simplest way this idea could cover my cost and generate profit? So now that you recognize these 3 danger zones, start applying them to your ideas, because you can save yourself months or even years of wasted efforts. And as you're moving from that corporate mindset and into the CEO filter way of thinking, it's really important that you realize that as a CEO, your job is to not just fall in love with passion alone, but as a CEO, you will have to validate, test, and pivot until your idea can stand on all of these 4 legs. Here is your power move of the day. Passion is the spark, but strategy makes it sustainable. So take your idea today and begin really analyzing the profitability of your business. Don't just dream about your idea, score it. Take this scoring framework that we did yesterday and score your idea based not just on passion, but on skills, on demand, and on profitability. Thank you so much for joining me today on From Corporate to CEO. If you loved what you heard today, please subscribe to the show and visit us at powermovecollective.com. And if you are ready to start taking action, here are 2 great options. You can download our free Safe Start Blueprint. It's on our website, and the link is also in the description below. However, if you, my darling, are ready to take action and say goodbye to corporate America for good, join us in the Business Plan Mastermind that is kicking off on January 12th, 2026.